Hey everybody, it's me, Steve Schnee, and you are watching the CD Junkie. On this episode of the CD Junkie, I'm going to be talking about a band by the name of the Flamin Groovies. But I'm only focusing on a certain period, and this is albums that were released between 1976 and 1979. All three of these albums came out on the Sire Records label. This is a prime period in the band's career. This is a period that gave us some of the finest power pop, garage, jangle pop music that this band has ever done. They have an incredible body of work. Now, before this period, the band had formed in like 1965. The main guy was Cyril Jordan, guitar, vocals, songwriting, and George Alexander on bass, and then Roy Loney on vocals. And they had other members too, and the members would be there for a year or two. I would recommend you to go check it out on Wikipedia, because I want to make this video kind of short and sweet, so I won't get into every band member. But the band formed in 65, and between 69 and 71, they released 3 albums. And they were more kind of garagey, wild man rock type things, especially with the late, great Roy Loney up front. There was Super Snaz, Flamingo, and Teenage Head. Those were the 3 albums. Came out between 69 and 71. But then Roy Loney ended up leaving the band. They had some shuffling around. They brought in a guitarist, vocalist by the name of Chris Wilson. Chris Wilson and Cyril Jordan began writing songs together. Now, the thing about the Flamin Groovies is it was never just all originals, nor was it never all covers. There was, some albums had more covers than originals, but there was always these great originals. And in fact, for the first album that we're going to talk about, for this trio of albums that they released on Sire Records, was one that came out in 1976 by the name of Shake Some Action. Now, this album had been recorded over a long period of time. They started recording it with producer Dave Edmunds in 72, and so over the next 4 years, they had recorded bits and pieces of the album, then released it as Shake Some Action. The title track alone, Shake Some Action, is the power pop anthem. Whether they meant it to be or not, it has turned into a song that every power pop band covers, or it seems like every power pop band covers, and if they don't, maybe they should add it to their set. What an incredible piece of music. It's so catchy. And sure, it wasn't top 40, but it doesn't matter. It hit the right people in the underground. See, the Flamin Groovies never really had top 40 hits, anything even close to that. They were always underground, but they just left an impact that was pretty darn amazing. So this Shake Some Action album, when you listen to it, you hear the Beatles, you hear the Byrds, you hear the Nuggets compilations. And Dave Edmunds produced it in a way that it sounds like it's straight from the 60s. It's got a lot of distortion on it, and sometimes it's not quite clear and mixed and stuff, and it sounds rough and raw, but it sounds glorious because it basically is just filled with these great songs. Power poppers loved it, even though Flamin Groovies has never been called a power pop band, because if you look at their vast body of work going back to the debut album Super Snaz in 1969 and then going up to the later period, they had elements of power pop, but they weren't strictly a power pop band. But this is the closest they got at this point in their career. 1976, Shake Some Action, wonderful album. They followed that 2 years later with another Dave Edmunds produced album called Flamin Groovies Now. And this was more great little jangle, power pop, garage rock, Nuggets, raw energy. This was a band that, punk had kicked in by this time. And these guys were playing music that could have fit in with, the CBGB scene, the Marquee Club in the UK. It appealed to a lot of people, and it was just fantastic music. Now, this is a band from San Francisco, and yet they had so many influences from around the world. You could send them to any major city that had a thriving music scene, and they would fit right in. Just an absolutely great band. Flamin Groovies Now, another fine album, maybe a little bit less power poppy, a little bit more garage rocky, but not by much. And Again, Dave Edmunds makes it sound like it's straight out of the 60s, even though it was 1978. 1979 gave us Jumpin' in the Night. Now, this album was produced by Cyril Jordan and Roger Bashirian. It's a little bit clearer than the previous two albums, but it still has that really 60s dirty aesthetic. And it's also, if you look at the cover is almost more Rolling Stones influenced. And it has a more bluesy feel than the previous two records. This has less power pop, less jangle pop, but it's all over the album, but it's more of a rockin' album. Now, the band unfortunately left Sire Records, I believe, in 1980. By 1981, there was a split in the band, and this version of the band, or the sound, it remained intact. Chris Wilson eventually left, George Alexander left, and the Groovies continued till the early 90s, and they split and got back together again in, I don't know, 15, 20 years later. I'm not saying that before the Sire Records stuff, their stuff wasn't that good, or after it wasn't that good. No, I'm just focusing on it here. All that stuff has some really great songs on it, just like these, but this is the stuff that's really the closest to power pop if you're looking for something that's power pop-ish, but something that also feels familiar, like a 60s album. You are going to dig all three of these. Now, there is a 2 CD compilation out there. It's a little hard to get, harder than the CD versions of these three albums. And it's called At Full Speed. And what it does, it combines all three of the Sire albums, as well as some extra bonus tracks. It's not that common, but it's pretty great. So if you can track that down for a decent price, check that out. I'm going to stop talking about the band. They're great. I want to focus on the music. So now I'm going to play you just snippets of a few songs from each of these three albums, and I will see you on the other side.
werewolf with a Chinese menu in his hand, walking through the streets of Soho in the rain. He was looking for a place called the Old Bucks. Gonna get a big dish of beef chow mein. Ow, werewolf to London. Ow, werewolf to London.
Well, that's it. I hope this inspires you to check out the Flamin Groovies. Now, all three of the albums I talked about, which was Shake Some Action, Flamin Groovies Now, and Jumpin' in the Night, all three did come out on vinyl. So you are probably easily going to be able to find those in the used bins if you can't find these CDs. But I recommend you to check them out, and also check out their earlier period and the later period as well. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. Remember to like, comment, share, subscribe. Remember, it helps with the algorithm. Thank you so much. And until the next time, remember me. I'm Steve Schnee, the CD Junkie.